I'm being joined in the presentation today by Roger Bell. How this is going to work is I'm going to hand it off to Roger momentarily here, and Roger will kind of overview the resources and services that ACC Library offers, and then Roger will hand it back to me, and I'll get into some more detailed discussion about diversity, inclusion, and how everything sort of melds into that as we go. So I'm going to place you into good hands, and Roger, please take it away.
All right, thanks, Greg. Hey, everybody. Looks like Timothy and Sydney are going to have a private session here, which is good because I don't know if you guys are aware of a lot of the things that we do in the library in terms of supporting classroom, supporting students, and supporting faculty and staff. May not always be obvious. So what I'm going to do basically is give you an overview of what we have and leave you with the parting idea that we have a lot of resources available, and it may not be necessarily academic that what you need or are looking at, but we can help get to the right people in addition to that, okay? So what I'm going to do is share my screen, and I'll show you what it looks like so you have a visual of the library and the interwebs, and it won't look so foreign if you have to go back and try to find it, okay? One question I have for folks that have come in: have you used our resources before? Did you know we have resources? Okay. Let's go ahead and share the screen then. So thank you there, Sydney. So the library page is available here at alvincollege.edu/library. I like to use the web page because it is accessible outside of the network. If we were to go into the pod page, that would mean that you would have to have a login, and not everybody who might attend the meeting is necessarily from the college here, so they wouldn't be able to necessarily get in. But everybody can at least get to certain aspects of our page, and I and Greg are big fans of simplicity and decluttering, let's say. We like to just put the what's core, what is necessary, not a lot of extraneous stuff. So everything that we try to put on here, or at least when I'm doing the web page, I want to keep it to a minimal, keep it to a minimum in terms of verbosity and things like that. Hopefully I get very clear and concise in descriptions, and they are helpful. So the primary thing that we provide for our students is assistance, and that assistance is in several different areas. We have the ability to do virtual, of course, and in-person, drop-in kind of assistance. We this year, there's been for me personally, there's been a lot of virtual assistance with regard to citations and things of that nature. It used to be we helped with a lot of what you would call reference, where we're finding specific answers to specific questions. It's not so much the case anymore, which is fine because everything does evolve, of course. So as we go down the web page here, we have
Roger, let me interrupt you for a minute. I don't know if everybody else is seeing what I'm seeing, but all I see on the screen is your Teams. I don't see the.
Okay, all right, my bad. So let's see. Let me just scoot things around here for you. That's weird. It actually went to a monitor. It did the
Okay, now I can see.
shared the monitor instead of the screen, which is interesting. But thanks for that.
Okay. We're all good.
Thanks for that. Yeah, if something doesn't seem right, let me know, because that definitely wasn't. Anyway, so back to our web page. There's our address. Okay. We're available, of course, through the college homepage. We have a nice little link up here at the top. Students can find a link here to get assistance, and that's through the pod, so they'd have to be logged into the pod. We have the ID and password. These are things that come up quite regularly, so we try to put those at the top, have those floating at the top. An ID and password is always going to be necessary through the web page to get to our resources. Because we obviously want to have some kind of control over the access. We have using bookings and JotForm, the ability for students to request help. They are able to not only, well, they define everything. They can define the time that they would want to do this, the activity they need, the person they would like to see in terms of tutoring. Now, of course, this is mostly library related. However, if they need tutoring in math, English, or some other topics, that they can go to this link. I'll just show it to you right quick. And we'll go to the pod page for the Learning Lab tutoring services. And so this is really good because it gives the students a whole lot of flexibility in terms of meeting their schedules. And the way it's set up, it finds them very efficiently, very quickly. We have also the ability to come to the classroom and do this kind of instruction. I do the library, I guess you would call it an orientation, but I go into much deeper detail on the library resources, specifically how to use the databases, and how that can be an efficient use of time as opposed to doing other types of searches, but tie into it with some writing and some citation work and stuff like that to kind of explain and give an overview of the whole process that students sort of have questions with, or their confusion about when I see them in person and whatnot. So I try to address that in the class. I get them to the point where they're comfortable in coming over and seeing that they don't have to do all this stuff alone. So if you need us to come to the class, feel free to jump in and do one of these requests. The library instruction one is primarily for you faculty. If you're looking for a particular book in support of your class, you can do that. We also have what we call reserves, which are textbooks that are available here in the library for 2-hour checkout for students that may not necessarily be able to afford their textbooks or for whatever reason. Those are pretty successful. However, we do need to hear from you. Okay, so we don't just go out and buy these for the collection, because they tend to become obsolete fairly quickly. Moving down, we have this area called research tools. These are going to be our databases. We have, it doesn't look like a lot when you look at it here. However, if we go to the actual TechShare page, which we do, and we check out these resources A to Z, gives us a great idea of what is initially available with TechShare. TechShare is a program run by the State Library. We subscribe to it. Saves us a lot of money. This is our bread and butter. We have probably on average let's say 4,000 or so sessions a month, which when it's compared, price per session is probably down into like cents, 25 cents, 50 cents at the most. The great thing about this is we have 3 vendors in here. We've got EBSCO, ProQuest, and of course, as any list, a Gale. Any list I have to make mentally, I will leave out one. So those are the 3 very large companies that accumulate these databases and make them available. For example, EBSCO has, in addition to all those ones that we just saw, has this number here. Let's see if I can get that to scroll for me. There's probably another 75 or so. So in total, we're looking at like 120-ish, 130-ish databases of specific focus that are available. And these are free to use for students, faculty, and staff. You just may need the ID and password to help get in. That's the most common things. So all of these databases basically work the same. Look and feel is a little bit different amongst them, but they all generally have the same end result, okay? We have accumulated help tools through some help assistance from people in the Learning Lab in terms of creating citation guides. Oh, these guys down here. Generally, those are up to date. For instructors there, we have some access to open OERs, open education resources, that you're free to use. I'm not what you would call an expert, but I have been in these, so they do seem to have a lot of content. But if that may not be content that's useful for you, it might still be worth checking into. Yeah? We have links to a couple of great resources here at Purdue Al. If you have not used their online writing lab, it's really good, quite extensive, and answers a lot of questions. We've got a large number of research help guides that we've created to assist in providing folks with kind of a visual roadmap or reminder on how to start search, get there, get through them, what to do with your result set, things of that nature. Has that a super important ID and password that people so often need. As well, we have some training videos, well, not some, quite a bit, that goes through all of the major databases that we have. They're all generally short, well under 10 minutes, probably 5 to 7 minute range on average. So they're not torturous to get through. And those are the, in terms of research support and whatnot, that's the main thing that we have. We also have study rooms that are available first come, first serve. That are here. We have 6 of those, I believe. We have open study areas where people can get together in groups. They can kind of move things around and, you know, be comfortable and have extended stay. We've got 24 computers that, of course, have internet access and the Microsoft Suite, so students can do everything that they need to do there. So with that, I'll turn it over to Greg. And just to reiterate, if you have any students that you would like to send to us, we're happy to help them, happy to help you. We've got lots of resources available, and we're happy to, of course, share those with everyone. So if you have any questions, just chat me up afterwards, and I'll be happy to address them. Thanks for your attention.
Okay, wonderful job there, Roger. Let me say a few more things about Roger. He's been here a long time. He knows the programs. He knows the people. Please leverage his services. He's excellent. He knows the P's and Q's of these databases from having worked with them here so many years. And you know, he's very easy to work with so far as, you know, determining your needs and coming up with an ideal solution. He can help you do what you're already doing even better. So again, wonderful job. on that, Roger.
1 second.
Second
Greg.
stanza.
Looks like Nadia has a hand up. Hi, Nadia.
Oh, it's Nadia.
Did you have something?
Yes, I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you for the presentation and showing how to get to the resources. I just was at the student panel, and some of the questions from the student came up is that do we have enough resources regarding diversity and inclusion and where to find it? And if we don't, I think then Greg and Roger, we need to look into this and maybe buy additional resources so that students and faculty and staff can have it.
Right. So with respect to our online database resources, we're subject to the content, that they provide. I have not done a survey of specific databases to find out exactly, what they have in terms of, let's say ebooks, for example. But we have EBSCO ebooks as an example, and they have I think they're well north of 300,000 items in there. So the chances are very, very good that we would have something, probably quite a lot actually. They stay current, so they work really hard at maintaining currency within their products, which would leave us.
So could we maybe make some kind of easy accessible folder where faculty, students, and staff can go for a specific topic? And right
Sure.
now we're focusing on diversity and inclusion.
Right.
So is there any way to search through the collection that we have and compile research, some kind of, manual or something like of that source to basically to let students and faculty and staff know where the resources are and maybe to make some direct, easy clicks?
Absolutely. That would be something like one of our study guides to kind of keep it in the same kind of logical format. But yeah, certainly doable. It's just it's not difficult at all.
Okay, thank you.
I tell you what, Nadia, why don't you hang on for a few more minutes here? I'm going to take the second stanza of the presentation.
Oh, sorry. So okay.
Yeah.
I'm here. Okay, thank you.
It's all good. It's all good. Get a little bit more, targeted so far as the, diversity inclusion efforts that we have specific to that.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with the mission statement of the Alvin Community College Library. It is. Alvin Community College Library supports stakeholder instructional activities via information access, outreach, and lifelong learning pursuits. Now, that's quite broad in scope, and I'll try to explain that a little bit more too. We have a formal, an example of how, we manifest it. We have a formal collection development policy. Included within that is first and foremost relevance to the college's educational programs, but also there's considerations for currency, timelines, and relevance. We have, pretty extensive faculty input so far as what comes to the library via purchase, but we're upping our game on that starting this month. We're launching a new library advisory body. We have about 5 faculty who are extremely interested. We are going to start with them. I'm reaching out to others, not only within the liberal arts programs, but also within the professional and tech programs, the faculty within those for representation on the library advisory body. So the resources and services will not just be, a decision made inside the 4 library walls, as it were. It's going to, have input from faculty who are in the classrooms and know the students here, know what the issues are. And I'm really looking forward to that as a, as a demonstration of the library's commitment to diversity inclusion within its game here. We have a speaker series that we're going to launch this month yet. It's a very eclectic series. There's going to be presentations from, for example, local authors, local business persons, persons within the ACC immediate community as well. We're going to be inviting the community into those functions, as well as the outside community, outside ACC local community, as well as the ACC community itself to those. And it's going to be as eclectic as possible. We want to really, be a focal point, in Alvin, Texas for diversity and inclusion concerns. And I think that the speaker series is going to be a step in that direction. Since I've been here, and that's about 4.5 months to this point, executed some revisions to the library website. And in mind for that partly has been concerns for persons with disabilities. You look at font size, you look at simplicity of presentation on the page, you look at the hues, the color schemes, and that avoidance of certain things that can cause physical reactions in persons with certain kinds of disabilities. That effort is going to continue. In general, the library serves the entire campus. By nature, it's an apolitical function. It's a non-political function. We are here to serve the entire campus, all the programs, all the students, all the faculty, and we also serve the community surrounding us outside the ACC walls, the general Alvin community here in Brazoria County. So that gives us an advantage because we're not particularly beholden, to a certain program or certain, cadre of politics, as it were. And we actively reach out to all divisions of the college to obtain input. I'm reaching out to get more representation on the library advisory body. So please know that we have that as an active focus for what we do. Now, last couple months that I've been here, we've upped our game so far as showcasing certain resources. Over the winter holiday, we purchased a number of LBGTQ books, and we are currently showcasing those in a designated area of the library. Black History Month, of course, ongoing. We have a display for relevant volumes for Black History Month in that same general area. When we have speakers and they have publications of their own that they're trying to recite or refer to, we'll purchase those and we'll showcase those on that same section as well. And again, the intention is to be as diverse and inclusive as possible with our showcasing here in the library. Other areas that we are working as a unit to try to address the adult literacy, we're just kind of starting to do some outreach on that on behalf of the college at large. We want to, ensure that the college has a good, solid enrollment base, and that we're not, unnecessarily, excluding persons who would otherwise be interested in college and have the motivation from doing that. But that is another, diversity and inclusion initiative that the library is working with others here at ACC to effect. Now, Roger a few minutes ago gave you a great overview of our library databases. You may not have been able to see many of the individual titles of those databases, but there's a lot of diversity reflected in those. I'll just give you a few of those titles as examples. Bibliography of Native North Americans, Spanish language scholarly content, Heritage Quest, Race Relations Abstracts, Referencia Latina. These are all names of databases. Another one's called Opposing Viewpoints. That's excellent for example, for students who are writing papers and want to look at as many sides of an issue as can be examined for that purpose. We have a lot of ebooks. Roger mentioned that too. And those are very current on an extremely diverse array of sources. Roger mentioned also that we pay pretty significant money for the databases. And, part of what we pay for is, currency and diversity and inclusion in their products. And we got a world-class array of databases that students, faculty, and staff can use here. It's the equivalent, I'd say, most of what you'd find in any undergraduate college or university setting. So please use those resources that we have. Again, I've been here 4.5 months. I made some strides, made some progress. I'm working on new initiatives all the time. Always with what we do, we have our user community in mind, and it's a diverse, inclusive community. So everything that we do and pursue and discuss, it has those tenets in mind: diversity and inclusion. So please give us a chance to help you with whatever information, needs, and wants you have. We can help you do what you're already doing even better, we think. And we got the stuff, I think, to be able to utilize. And increasingly, the library is going to be a focal point for things other than tomorrow's class session or next week's paper due or something like that. We're adding a lot of services here and functions that I think are going to heighten the take from the ACC experience for not only the students, but also the faculty and others who work here. So we want to make this a spot. We're putting in the time and the effort. The concern already was there. We think we got something that is worth looking at too. So, hey, anybody got any questions for me or for Roger? Seeing any hands, Roger? I'm not seeing anything.
No burning questions.
Coming in there. Well, we're here, and you know where to find us. We got quite a bit, we think, and we're adding more. We hope to see you. Please give us some input on what you think will help the campus community. It's part of our mission. Again, we serve the whole place. We're not a political body. We're a service body. Here, all programs, all services, all stakeholders of Alvin Community College, and we enjoy that. That's what we do. Roger and I say thanks.
I think you have a hand up.
Is that Sydney? Sydney, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, Roger, Dr. Reed, thank you for your presentation. I'm really excited about this series of speakers you mentioned. Are there any specific people lined up yet that you have in mind?
28th of February, so glad you asked the question, Sydney. 28th of February, 12:30 p.m. here in the library on site. We have a local author named Felicia French who will visit, and she's going to talk about her latest book, of which we required 2 copies for our collection here. Her book is called Sis, You Are the Universe. It's a self-help publication. Felicia has a website. She's based in Galveston. I think she was born and raised there. She afterward went to some other places, but has since returned to home base. And she travels quite a bit. She's quite a lady. And I think that a lot of people are going to be, engaged with what she has to bring to the table here. And we'll showcase her book. And she's written more than one book. We'll showcase what she's got here and then have a really nice presentation and Q&A on the 28th of February. That's a Monday, 12:30 p.m. here in the library. We have a speaker series flyer. You may see them around campus that we generated. It's got a large QR code in the middle of it. Click that and then one can see via webpage the listing of upcoming speaker series events, and Miss French is there. So we look forward. We have at least one more lined up. In fact, we have 2 more lined up that have not yet entered on the page there. But I've listed as a goal to have at least 3 speaker series events completed here at the library before the end of spring semester, and hold me to it. I think I'm going to make it, and then some. I might even have more than 3 by the time
That's
the
really
semester
exciting.
ends.
I think those will be fun.
It's for the campus, and I really look forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Carol Fountain has a question, Greg. She says that, or she asks that I'm a dual dual enrollment at MHS. Do you have any suggestions to entice the high school DE students to fully use the ACC library?
Oh my gosh, that one's almost too easy for me there. Thanks, Carol, for that question. Recently, I generated a short video. I think it's about 10 and a half minutes, relevant to dual enrollment students at ACC. It is on the pod page, the library's pod page. It's kind of off to the right, maybe 2/3 down the page, the link to this video. It's an overview of what ACC Library has available to dual enrollment students. The idea that I had in generating it was to put it out there so that folks could look at it and then get back to me if they wanted some more targeted presentation on anything that we have, a resource and service in this library. It's a broad approach, shotgun approach, so to speak, at the outset. But again, the bottom line is it's a video. It's a video, and it's forget the exact title of it, but it is self-evident. ACC Library Resources for Dual Enrollment Students, I believe, is what it is. Look on the library pod page on the right side, about 2/3 of the way down. It's a link to a video, and hopefully, Carol, that will at least start to answer some of the questions that folks might have about dual enrollment. It's on our minds. Yep, Roger's got it there. ACC Library Resources for Dual Enrollment Students. So please look at that, and I hope you enjoy it. Any other questions? You got some good ones here. Okay, I'll tell you what. Thank you for joining us here. Give us a chance, please, to help you do, the things you're already doing even better. We think we can, and we think we got some really neat stuff ongoing now and upcoming that are gonna, make this a hot spot for, for everyday concerns, but also for diversity, inclusion, and lifelong learning. It's a part of the library's mission. It's what we do. So gratitude
I think
extended.
Sydney has a question.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Cindy, go
Roger,
ahead.
could I ask you real quick? You mentioned that you speak to classes, correct, and kind of give an orientation on library resources.
That's correct.
Yeah, what is that like, or what does that entail? Because I think that's something that students really struggle with, is just whenever they're first introduced to databases, especially, it's very overwhelming for them. So what is that like?
Well, I'll show up to the classes and kind of take some guidance from the instructor as sort of their topic area. But in reality, is most of the time, these students have not actually used databases. So they haven't experienced what we have, much less really know what we have. So, and I go from the very beginning, because for a lot of people, it's just the hardest part is getting started because they don't know where to go. So I show them the things that we have for that, like the help guides, the links for bookings, so they can set up an appointment to help. I'll go through the basic ideas of databases, because people don't realize that they're all around us. Everything we have basically is now a database of some sort. So to kind of explain it in like general terms, real world terms, and then bring the focus down to the research for academic projects and whatnot, and how to best use the tools that are the best for that specific job. A lot of them will default to Google, of course, because that's what they're used to, but that oftentimes is not the best. So I introduce them to those kind of searching concepts, tool concepts, why we would do something like that. And then we go through, and generally I get the call as a result of an assignment that's due. So we try to get them to actually do what they're working on along with me, so they have something tangible to connect it to. Otherwise, it's just another lecture. And I don't know. I think that makes it easier to forget things. But once it's visually seen, and experienced, physically experienced, then it will stick a lot better. And it also results in a lot more contact with us here. Students will come in because they realize we have something that's very valuable for them.
Okay, good. Thank you. Because I do like a little tour in my class, and also I work in the library in the writing center, so I'm somewhat familiar, but I think I'll contact you about that in the future and
Sure.
maybe give them a more detailed description of what's available.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
What it ultimately comes down to is most of them, they just don't realize that we're here and what we have.
Yes.
So this first introduction, especially in their first or second semester, is really valuable. It's really sad for the ones that are in their last semesters to realize that we have all of this because they've been doing things so hard and making things the hard way.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Sydney.
Anybody else? You know where to find us. It's your library, and we're here to help. We're happy to do it. So grateful that you joined us here this afternoon, but please don't let it end here. You know, your interactions with the library, we have resources, we have services, we have events upcoming. So let us help. For now, thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you so much. It was a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.